Hey everyone, happy Halloween once again. I am bored now. Today I am joined by Jess and Alyssa from Horror Movie Tea. How are you guys doing?
Doing
Great.
good.
Thanks for having us here.
Yes.
Sorry about
Yeah.
the background noise.
That's okay. Today we're going to be talking about the recent movie Sinners. This is a new film that came out earlier this year. New film from Ryan Coogler, who did Black Panther and Creed. So it's his first time doing a horror movie, as far as I know. So it's the setup for the movie is that it's set in Mississippi in 1932, and you have two brothers, Elijah Smoke and Elias Stack Moore, who are war veterans, and they're just returning home after 7 years in Chicago working for a drug gang. And they use their money, which they got from the gang, to set up an all African American nightclub. Cousin Sammy, who's a very talented and aspiring blues guitarist, who decides to join them as part of the venture, even though he's warned by his local pastor, then that is the devil's music, which is a big theme in the movie. You also have a character played by Haley Steinfeld, who is Mary, who's an ex-girlfriend of Stack, who is basically passing as a white woman, and he ended the relationship because he was concerned about protecting her. She becomes a big character in the movie, and the movie is set largely on the opening night of the nightclub, and you have these vampires who are led by an Irish immigrant. He's played by Jack O'Connell, and they become the main threat. They're trying to get into the nightclub and trying to trick their way in, and that becomes the tension of the movie. So a big part of it is to do with racial segregation at the time. You also have themes of immigration, of religion. You also have like capitalism as quite a big theme, because, for example, they buy the nightclub off a clan member, like a rich landowner who is racist, but capitalism plays quite a big theme in the movie also. So we'll have a few. You can't really talk too much pre-spoilers without really just diving into this one, but I think we'll have a few pre-spoiler thoughts. And Jess, I think this was the first time watch for you, right?
Yes, it was. I had never seen this before until I think it was Alyssa that mentioned it.
So it might be good to start with you, because me and Alyssa, this was a rewatch. So if you just want to say a few things, sum up how you thought about the film pre-spoiler.
It was interesting. I rather enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It had a lot of good tension. It didn't feel very slow at all. In fact, I feel like it could have been a little bit longer, honestly. I was really enjoying a lot of the lore. They don't really hit you in the face with a lot of it. You have to pick it up throughout the movie as you go. They mention other types of lore. And I would honestly really enjoy seeing what else they would do with that kind of thing. Like if they branched off and made movies about other things that they mentioned.
Okay. Interesting.
So I think it was pretty well done. The effects were good. Dialogue was good. There were a couple of characters that it was kind of difficult to tell who was who at first, but that's honestly because I'm awful with names. So
yeah. That's fair.
But otherwise, the characters are like, their personalities are varied. So it's not like a horror movie.
Yeah.
Cut and paste kind of thing. There were a couple of choices that I questioned a little bit. But all in all, I rather enjoyed it. It was a good experience for me.
Alyssa, what did you think of the movie? This was a rewatch for you.
I really enjoyed this movie because I just love the horror movies where, I mean, you can interpret a lot of horror movies as having like different meanings, but I feel like this one in particular is really good about having multiple layers to it. And yeah, it's like the cast, everyone did a really good job. The characters themselves were enjoyable. There were some choices in getting a little bit more like NSFW that I was like, okay, that's okay. And but aside from that, I really enjoyed the movie. Like I watched it, as we said, like multiple times. Um
Hmm.
and I think the way that they did the villain was really cool. The way that like a lot of things are like connected. There's a lot of parallels, which we'll get into later. But anyways, like very very well done movie, and I hope that he does more movies like this because it's really really interesting.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I think I don't know if it's been confirmed, but I know Ryan Coogler has been in talks to like do a new version of the X-Files.
Hmm.
So again, that's on the sort of tinges on the horror side. So that could be interesting, and I think he could do a good job with that as well. But
For sure.
yeah, like the fact that it's a rewatch for you and a few times now, I think for many people, this is definitely a standout horror movie of the year, and it's definitely one which is on the verge of becoming like a modern classic. Partly, I think, because it is so rich in themes and it's doing that thing of it uses a horror metaphor, but it plays it alongside these quite meaty, like real life themes. I just wanted to ask one thing because some people who have complained a little bit about the film have claimed that the plot of it feels too similar to From Dusk to Dawn. I don't know if you've heard this complaint, but
Mm-mm.
and I don't know, it just feels like they're being a bit provocative for the sake of it a little on that one. I don't know what you think about that because
Yeah, I mean, it's like there's no such thing as an original idea anymore. So it's just like, people
yeah.
being like, oh, it's too similar to this movie, it's too similar. It's like all movies are, there you can always find a movie that's going to be similar to another movie. And I feel like what the actual focus should be is not necessarily how original a movie is, but how well it tells its story. Because there
Mm.
have been movies in the past where I'm like, okay, they're very similar, but I feel like one is superior because it's just way more engaging than the latter half. So yeah, it's like I feel like this one definitely does a really good job with its storytelling, with its themes. It doesn't really beat you to death with the themes, but it definitely makes it apparent.
Clear what
Um
it's saying, yeah.
yeah, yeah. But anyway, so it's like I don't care if it's similar to, XYZ movie. It's like, it does a good job with its storytelling and its characters and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I would go along with that, and they are still very different movies, like because obviously that had nothing to do with segregation and race, and I think this is playing with that, like the metaphors of the vampires, and because the way the vampires themselves are outsiders, but very
Mhm.
different outsiders to what we're talking about with the African Americans and
Yeah.
the immigrants. But obviously, there's the twist on the fact that the leader of the vampires is like an Irish immigrant as well.
Yeah.
So they play
Yeah.
on that. But I mean, it just so happens that certain things to do with the plots are similar, but like it's putting its
Yeah.
own twists on it, really.
But I mean, how many Dracula movies are there?
Yeah.
Like that, it happens all the time, and there's only so much you can do with it. But this one I feel like builds on it
Mhm.
more, and it has other themes involved, like you said, with the segregation and the war, and they bring in Capone at one point, just mentioning him and where they worked before. So I honestly feel like they set themselves apart enough
Yeah.
that it's not a big deal if it has a lot of similar things to From Dusk Till Dawn.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think the important thing, I mean, this is like with I mean, who knows if this director was actually trying to have those types of parallels with that movie, but at least like if you're doing a remake, I would hope that the director is thinking, okay, what is the new thing that we're bringing to the table, or how are
Mhm.
we going to like change things to
Or
retell,
elevate it.
elevate
Mhm.
it. So I would hope that, I mean, I feel like this movie definitely accomplishes that. Obviously not a Dracula remake, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like this movie. I did see it when it came out at the cinema, and I was pretty much hooked in and engrossed for the whole time. And it is quite a long movie, especially for a horror movie.
Yeah.
Like it's about 2 hours 20, isn't it? But I quite like that. I think they used the time really well.
They did, and it honestly didn't feel that long.
Mhm.
Yeah, because you just get so sucked into the
Mhm.
characters and the tension and all the different themes. You know, I think they pace it really well, because
They do.
I appreciate then we do spend a good sort of half an hour or whatever it is at the start before you really start to get a hint of a horror plot. We spend time getting to know the characters, them
Yeah.
coming into town, them setting up, all their interactions with people they know around the town. I think the later part of the movie really benefits from that, because you do get to know them, you get invested in them, but also the other characters. It's like juggling quite a lot. So I think it really ups like the tension and the stakes and the drama a bit later on.
Yeah, 100%.
Not to mention, but of course, Michael B. Jordan plays both brothers, and he does a fantastic job. Because there's always this trick to playing where you're doing like they're pretty much identical. Now in this case, there's a slight difference because of the way they dress, but he does a great trick, which is part of the thing, where they are quite different as brothers. You know, like the Stack brother is the slightly more confident and kind of like the one who's a bit more of the hustler, like the charisma guy, and the Smoke, he's a little bit more of the grounded type one. And so he does a good job where you can tell which one is which at each time, almost like there's just something in the performance. But it's kind of showing, yeah, they are brothers as well, and the similarities, and he brings a lot of charisma and depth to the parts, and it's a real trick. It's very, very clever.
Yeah, it shows how flexible he is as a actor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think you've got a whole host of really good actors in here, and a good like cast. Like I really like Haley Steinfeld. Obviously got issues because her mother's just died, and the mother it's brought up basically raised them and didn't even come to the funeral, that kind of thing. But you know, she's a very sort of feisty, tough character who kind of says what she feels, and I think we invest in her because she's got a sense of morality. Like she chooses, no, I'm not just going to be the white person. I'm not going to just stick to my own race. You know, I have feelings for you, and if you're willing to be in a relationship with me, I'm going to be here. And she's the one who's going to choose maybe to go into like an all African American nightclub at night. It's like, no, I know these people. This is my place.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I feel like that really shows how strong her like, actual character is, not like, you know, movie character, but like her character as far as like her personality and how like courageous, because yeah, it's like she could have taken the easy road and be like, yeah, I'm just going to, you know, blend into society, but instead she chose the hard path. And I feel like that helps as an audience member, you like really like root for her.
This film is very good on its female characters as well, considering it's like written by a man, directed by a man, because I also really like the character of Annie, who is the wife of
Smoke.
yeah, because, you know, she's into like kind of dark magic and has an understanding, and she's been left behind by him, and she's again has a very strong character where there's a big theme of, as I said, capitalism in this movie, and it's almost like the bottom line which the two brothers go by. And there's quite a big scene where she tells Smoke that no, there's other things, there's other concerns. I'm not going to take your blood money. And I do like that scene as well. I think I like the fact that we see that there are other things. We see that she's got her traditions, and almost like, I guess we are getting into spoilers now, but I was spoiler warning everyone. We're talking about Pacifics, but you know, they have quite a passionate scene, and again, I think it's showing that there's other things that make you function than just money, sort of thing, like lust, attraction. She's got her magics, but also I do like then when stuff is going down later on in the nightclub, and she's the first one to figure out that these are vampires, and she starts thinking about ways that we can do tests, like the garlic test, for example, that she does. So she's a really good character as well, because she's very smart on this stuff, and she has her own sort of independence.
Yeah, that's one thing I really did like about this movie is they didn't take the characters for granted. They did make them have like really smart and ingenious decisions. I also like how they had the vampires be the traditional vampire, where it's like you gotta invite me in, but it like actually showed how clever the vampires were, because like some of the like the way that they talk to like try and be like, oh, it's me, like why wouldn't you let me in? And the way that they asked to come in was also like a little bit like sneaky.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think I'm so glad that they went that route, because I feel like because you know, I feel like it's almost like a trope where like people make fun of. It's like, oh, why would you ever invite a vampire in? But it's like showing is like, no, like they are actually very clever, and you know, they can like trick you into doing it. That it just kind of like reaffirms like the danger.
Yeah. Well, there's a real back and forth, isn't there? And there's a big thing of, I guess one advantage this movie has is because it is set back in the 30s, then you naturally have this where they don't even think for a while, oh my God, they could be vampires. They just think, well, it's segregation. This is our club, in a way, the same way as we don't have the privilege of going to an all-white club. Yeah, you don't have the right to come in here, and they're just protecting themselves as well. It's like, these are strange people. So it's probably quite natural that at first they're not going to jump to, oh, they're vampires. And I also quite like the scene where it's Mary who volunteers, which again is a good character thing for her, that she goes outside and starts talking to them, and it's like, well, because I'm the white person here, or at least passing for white, I'm gonna, you know, it's a bit easier maybe for me to go undercover and check them out. Like the stuff with the young family who's the vampires come into their home. And again, a little bit of a commentary on racism, because the young family don't even question, because these are white people. And yet when the Native American comes later on warning them about are they inside you need to be careful because he's Native
They're
American.
dangerous. Yeah.
Turn him away. So again, racism really plays a big part across the movie.
Like common knowledge, but I don't know how many people know that the Irish also, had their version of like prejudice against them. I mean, especially, in America, like that was definitely like a big part of our history, unfortunately. And so I watched, I forgot what video it was, but someone did a YouTube video talking about the parallels between like, the reason why this Irish vampire is like so wanting to, be in the club and all of that is because he is also, there's a lot of parallels where like, he also has had prejudice against him. Music is of course a strong part of any culture. And so it was him like wanting to have like a community again. Anyways, I just thought
He kept saying fellowship and love.
Yeah, I just thought that was so cool and so clever of them to not only, because I feel like if it was just a vampire that was trying to like attack them, it just wouldn't have the same weight. The fact that they deliberately chose an Irish vampire is just like,
definitely.
It's definitely more impactful.
Yeah, I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, they tried to use that, and the music as well is a big thing. And I think just thinking of even moving it forward traditionally, I think music for a lot of people, and because Sammy is such a young character, I think it's naturally a way to rebel and to be yourself and to express yourself. And that's why a lot of people join in bands and what have you, because it is, if you put it in a more modern context, it's a way to rebel a little against the system, or it's an outlet for you to express yourself.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we see with Sammy, and we see the kind of stereotypes around music because it is seen as, an alternative, and it seemed to go against the traditional like teachings.
Yeah. Can we talk about the club scene though when Sammy was playing and all of the like transitions that just it's so cool.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah, because they have a little montage, and suddenly it cuts to all the different like representations of black music over the years. So disco, folk, bluesy. There's like tribal, Asian music as well. It gets in. It's really good, isn't it?
Yeah. I was. It's like I'm always like super immersed whenever they get to that scene. I'm like mesmerized.
Yeah, because it's on theme with the movie, but it doesn't take you out of the movie. But it's a big part of what the movie is about, and the movie is just very stylish and very well done, and the music is so beautiful. You've got this haunting kind of steely guitar, which plays all the way throughout, which is very very good.
Yeah. There are scenes when they're singing and playing their music that I honestly got goosebumps.
But Jess, you mentioned about the bits of lore they add. Do you want to expand a little bit on that?
Someone is at the front door.
Timing is everything. You can ask whoever's ever at the front door, have they seen Sinners, and do they want on the mythology of...
Called them Haints.
Okay.
And they mentioned a couple others, but they were concerned, and I didn't get a chance to look it up. I really should have. But it sounded like what they were describing was almost a zombie or a revenant.
Yeah.
And they weren't sure if it was that or if it was a vampire. There's some slight differences. So they're like, we're not sure what we're dealing with. We need to figure it out. And she listed off a couple others. I can't quite recall what they were, but it was interesting. And she was going into some of the the aspects that were similar and a couple that were different. So then she's like, okay, we need to test this. Are they able to do this? Are they able to do this? They shouldn't be able to drink the pickled garlic juice. So that was a nice test. She was the first one to be kind of suspicious about, I believe his name was Cornbread. Or that's what they were calling him, at least.
Yeah,
the guy that was initially
everyone has a
watching the
nickname.
door.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the doorman. Yeah.
Yes. He was initially watching the door. He went out to relieve himself. And when he came back after someone had been killed, Mary had run out saying, we're going to kill all of you. Like, things are happening, not great things. And he comes back after everything, and it just seems a little off. And she's the first one that's like, hold the phone.
Yeah.
You didn't need to be asked in before, and now you're very insistent that you need our permission to come in. And you're a big dude.
It's almost like he's trying to scheme his way in, and he's using race as well. He's saying, okay, this is what the white people would do. The fact that the vampire's eyes turn red, and that's an indication that, I mean, again, the characters don't jump straight to vampires, but it's an indication. And also you've got the saliva on the face.
Yeah, what was up with the drool? I was wondering that.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a new thing or...
That was a choice.
Well, I guess they're just bloodthirsty sexual creatures.
I don't appreciate that choice. that is a...
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's just something the movie can play with. It's just how you have certain signs that someone is...
And they played with
something.
it, and...
Yeah, but
like
I think that is what it is. But like, I was just trying to think if it's been used in other movies. I don't think it has. The Red Eyes, I think, might have done. Like other movies have done that, but I'm not sure about the troll.
And I like that they used that more when they were in the darkness, almost like predators at night. How the line reflects in their eyes.
Yeah.
So I thought that was really cool.
This film isn't afraid really to obviously put the characters in jeopardy and to have like big characters who are turned, you know, reasonably still early in the movie. Like Mary, when she gets turned, it is about halfway through the movie. And it changes her character then, because one thing I think which is quite clever is this idea that she comes back into the club and she is suddenly more sexual. And it sort of plays with you a bit because you have the thing that when she goes out, she's armed and she's kind of ready and she backs off. But then you see the vampire leap at her and then it cuts. And it does a similar thing with the doorman a little bit. So it does play with you a little bit of, hinting that something bad has happened. But the characters don't learn about it till later. But yeah, I do like the Mary... is more sexual, and it's sort of under those terms as a vampire that her and Shaq they have sex at that point. They have sex at that point, and whereas they'd been a little bit of friction, and that's the way she gets to him, and that's a double blow as well. You know, Mary's been turned, and so has Stax then.
I love that they were real subtle about how she gained entry as well.
Yeah.
Because there for a while, the others were more pushy about it and insisting you need to invite me in. You need to ask me in. And she says to Cornbread, well, are you going to stand there blocking the door or are you going to let me in?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it seemed more of a...
subtle
banterish instead of
yeah.
I need an express invitation in.
Yeah.
So it shows that how you word things can be interpreted differently too. So that worked for her to gain entry, and I liked how it was more subtle.
Movie isn't going to give an easy way into the club for the vampires, so it's almost like once they've turned someone who is a part of that group, it makes it easier for them to get in. Like, they can send her back in.
Mhm.
She obviously brings along the gold, because that becomes a thing that they're running out of money, so they need to try and come up with more money. And that's another way the vampires are trying to get into the club, but say, you know, we have money as well. So once she's turned, it sort of changes the game. In a lot of tension with the Grace character, because I quite like that, and I think she knows that Bo, her husband, has been changed. He's out there with, but they almost play on that. They almost play on, you can come out and you can be with your husband. And I think she does know he's been turned, but she's tempted to go anyway because she wants to be with her husband. So they're playing all these psychological games. And
Well, there's that. They also threatened her daughter, to protect her daughter too.
Yeah, there's a lot on that, and there's a lot of, okay, calling their bluff, or will they actually do that? And it's obviously just more tactics to try and get more people. Zanny is saying at one point, we just waited till sunrise, we sit it out until sunrise, and that's the whole thing. But there's a lot of emotion tied up in it as far as Grace goes. It's not an easy decision. Big dramatic full-on battle near the end in the club, which is full-blooded and lots of things going on. I think the direction does a great job in keeping track of every different characters. It's a real blow again to Smoke, the fact that it's his brother who takes out Annie, his wife.
This one does hurt a little bit when it's like, you know, if you're attached to a particular character and then they end up being turned, then you're like, oh no.
Yeah.
It doesn't shy away from turning good characters.
And she did give some indication that she figured it was going to happen. And that he wouldn't be much further behind her.
Again, you have that investment in the characters, so it means a little bit more when they do go. And of course, they had to have the brother versus brother fight, which was really...
Of course.
Naturally, you've got to do it at that point, don't you? And you've got Slim sacrificing himself as well. Delroy Leary. So that's a big moment, him just sort of opening up his arm to the vampires. Sammy, it turns out in some ways he's the most pivotal character in the movie because he does make it out, and being, as I said, the musician and the guy who, we go on and get his epilogue later on and see what he becomes. Joyce, you know, it's a real scene, them out on the lake, and eventually it is Smoke who saves him.
Yeah, I really like the epilogue. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, so we get to see him years later. In 1992, we get footage of who I'm guessing is probably a real life musician. Like, I'm not sure if the character of Sammy's a real life character. I could see how maybe it might be based on one, but we do get that footage of the musician. And then we get a scene much later in the bar, all these years later, and I quite like because so Mary and Stack show up to the bar, which Sammy goes to all these years later, and he's had this successful career as a musician. And they put it to him. Stack says, "I made a deal with my brother that we wouldn't take you out. We would leave you, you know, it was a deal." But he's offering it up. He's saying, "Yeah, do you want everlasting life?" And he's like, "No, I've lived a full life. I've seen some crazy stuff in this life. I'm kind of good, really, you know, not to be a part of that."
Yeah.
Good to be going on the next adventure instead.
Yeah, just natural. When it's my time sort of thing. And yeah, it's a really well done epilogue with, you know, he plays another song for them, and it's reminiscent of all those years ago when he first played for Stack. and Stack's eyes lit up. He saw dollar signs, basically. Smoke gets to take out the clan owner guy.
That was rather satisfying.
That was
honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was brutal. Yeah,
And-
sorry, go.
While it was sad to see him pass right after, it was good to see that he got peace afterwards. He was finally able to be with his wife, with his child who they had lost before. So it was bittersweet.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, it was. Yeah, he had that, they were appearing to him and it was a moment for him. You see a different side to characters and their personality, because like Mary, when we see her in the bar scene, has a bit more of a hip, sort of cool type vibe to her and the way she's dressed. So
Mm-hmm.
They've
fun.
definitely adapted.
Yeah. To
Yeah.
the modern culture and things. So yeah, I mean, we all seem to like it. I think it's a very strong movie that's gonna hold up on rewatches by the sounds of it.
I think it's worth at least one watch. I started watching it through again a couple of days ago just to refresh my memory on a few parts, and I picked up a couple extra things that I didn't see on the first watch through. So there's a lot of meat to this story, and I think it's a good rendition of vampire lore. And I'd like to see more of it. Honestly, if he, like I said, expands and makes other movies on other things that they had mentioned, I'd definitely be down to see it. I'd give it a 7.75 currently out of 10,
Okay, yeah.
Great.
with potential of going up.
That's nice.
There's
Yeah.
just a couple of things that I'm like, I could do without.
Without, yeah, that's a personal taste thing, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. But on the whole, good music, good effects, interesting story. Like it's a very solid movie.
Yeah, and it was encouraging earlier that you said you felt it could have been a bit longer, if anything,
Mhm.
because that's always a good sign. That's a nice
is.
problem
Especially
to have.
for how long it was. It did not feel as long as it was.
Yeah, because a lot of modern movies are definitely too long, and a lot of modern movies, even blockbusters, films, you think, well, the appeal of that is it's quite a short movie, and you turn off your brain, you go for the ride. And a lot of blockbusters, for whatever reason, today they get padded out to like 2 hours 20, getting on. And they just drag as a result. And this wasn't like that. When I saw the running time for this, I was a bit concerned. I thought, and I think it's because we do spend so long getting to know the characters, but like I said, it really pays off. So I think it was worth that extra time. And
Yeah, everything they put in the movie made sense and served a purpose.
Yeah. Fun fact on the movie length, though, the reason why movies are longer now is because of Lord of the Rings.
Yep.
Because Hollywood didn't think that it was possible for the audience to sit 4 hours in a movie theater. And when Lord of the Rings proved them wrong, they're like, oh, okay.
With a vengeance.
Yeah. And so I feel like the expectation where people are like, oh, I got to get my money's worth out of the movie is like, oh, it's got to be a longer movie. But nowadays it's just, I feel like they just drag it out. But yeah, this movie, I feel like the fact that they did make it so long makes you more immersed in the world.
Yeah.
And then, as we said before, whenever the vampires do come in, it definitely does feel higher stakes, and it kind of hurts you in the heart a little bit with some of the characters. One part of my brain is like, oh, I want to give it a 9 out of 10. But being realistic, it's like it's one of those movies where I can't just sit down and watch it. I kind of have to be in the mood for it. And there are a couple of choices I was like, that was an interesting choice. So I think I'm going to give it like an 8 out of 10. Like it's definitely going to be in my roster to watch over and over again. But I have to be in the mood for it. But no, really, really good. I almost feel like it's almost like The Shining for me, where like it's kind of an investment of your time, but you get a lot of like meaning out of it. But you also can't really have your brain turned off to it. You kind of also have to be like kind of active with it. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay, in the movie, yeah, I can see that, because The Shining is another where it is a longer horror movie than, because I think we are used to with horror movies them being like 90 minutes and you get it done, and
Yeah.
either it's good or it's not type thing. But yeah, there's a lot caught up in this, and the world building and thing, and just the places it goes to. So there is a lot to this. Okay, well, I'm going to go 8.5. I think, like you, I'm pretty close to going like the 4/9, but, you know, it's the second viewing. I think it holds up very well on the second viewing, and like Jess, I definitely caught on to things which I didn't catch on to in the first viewing. And yeah, I think this is just a very fresh, stylistic movie, which does that great thing which a lot of great horrors movies do, where they just use a really interesting metaphor for the horror of the movie. So the horror of the film works alongside the metaphor, which is digging at these very real life issues, and there's a lot of depth to it because of that. And it's just a beautifully put together movie and edge of your seat stuff. So really good cast, as I said. They bring a lot to their characters, and the characters are very well written. So yeah, get a lot out of it. I think, Alyssa, you might have a point about you maybe have to be in the mood, whereas I think there's other movies where you would just throw it on and you wouldn't think too much about it. It's an easy watch. You're probably right on that. So maybe that holds it back a little bit, but I mean, not in a bad way. I think there's just movies like that where, like, they're probably better than a lot of other movies, but you're just not going to choose to throw them on like every sort of Friday night or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's a very unique vampire movie. I think I definitely agree with that. So I get a lot out of it. That's it for October, for Halloween. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for Jess and Alyssa for joining me today. If you want to support the channel, patreon.com/borednow. Some extra perks, some exclusive content, some clips that are cut out of the YouTube videos, commentaries, things like that. You can also be a channel member at 3 different tiers. I'll put the link to that in the description. You can also donate, make one-off donations at PayPal and also on the Super Chat button. And another thing which YouTube has recently added, which is a nice, free, easy way to help the channel out, is the hype button. So you'll find a hype button on some of my videos. If you click it, the idea is that a certain amount of points will go to the video. So you get free hype button usage a week, and a certain amount of points go to that video, and the idea is it hypes it up and gets it out to more people. So it's meant to be quite good for like smaller channels. So it's free and easy. Just hit that hype button and hype it up. So there you have it. Yeah, support the channel. Let me know what you guys think of the movie and what movies you've been watching over the last month or so. And Jess, I will give you a chance to promote your channel also.
You're on the spot.
Yeah, I'm giving you a break this month, Alyssa.
So we are Horror Movie Tea, spilling the tea on horror movies. We have weekly episodes that come out where we rate and review horror movies based on entertainment and realism. And once a month, we have live streams, usually on the first Saturday of every month at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time, where we are the ones in the hot seat and we are playing horror games. So it's a lot of fun, lots of chaos, lots of shenanigans. We have also different clips from those games and our different reviews of funnies that come out weekly as well. Those are always a blast to reminisce about and laugh at us for being dorks. And we drink wonderful tea while we do it all. So come join us at horrormovietea.com, horror movie tea on Twitch. We have a Discord server. Find our link tree.
Nice. Yeah. Cool. That's the dream right there. Drinking tea and watching horror movies. Living the high life.
Yep.
So I will link all your links into this video so people can go and check you out. But thanks everyone. Have a great Halloween and we'll see you again soon. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
I've been all over this world. I seen men die in ways I ain't even know was possible. Love you, brother. Be careful. I will. With all the things that I've seen, I ain't ever seen no demons, no ghosts, no magic. Till now. Hey, get back inside. Let me in, man! Some weird shit going on out here! You keep dancing with the devil. One day he's gonna follow you home.